In this video, I'm going to show you my painting process of landscapes from start to finish, from the thumbnail to the finished painting. Here we go. Okay, so I started doing thumbnails, and I didn't start recording, and I meant to. I wanted to show this part of the process. So I'm just making quick sketches. Thumbnails is what people call them. Small, few-minute sketches. They take like 2 to 5 minutes. Sometimes longer. And just kind of brainstorming ideas. So I kind of got the idea where I wanted a planet or a moon in the background. And that's kind of where I'm trying to figure things out right now. No idea what I'm doing with this one, but paint over it anyways. Okay, there's another moon. A line through it. Right now I'm trying something else. So it takes me a while to kind of figure out what I want to do. Kind of like the composition of that one. And when you're thumbnailing, there are no bad ideas. You just need to generate ideas. I mean, you will have some bad sketches, but hopefully you'll have some good ones. Here I'm kind of finalizing and figuring out what I wanted. I kind of like where this is going here, so I'll have kind of the island. Yeah, kind of an island out front, and then a big planet arcing in the back. Kind of what I decided to go with. So I'm going to kind of circle where I think which ones I'm going to use. I kind of roughly that idea, so I'm going to make a sketch. And then we're going to jump into that, and that's going to be even faster on speed. Alright, so I'm blocking in the sketch. I kind of had the color idea I wanted already figured out. Usually you should mess around with a few different colors in just a rough sketch just to see if that's really the colors or the lighting you want to have. So I'm going in, I'm getting a rough sketch in right now. It's about, I don't know how far, I'll let you know when I get, yep, about this part is when I start going in and finishing it and rendering it. I'm still figuring things out. You always want to try stuff. I mean, worst case, you just paint over it again. You can't be afraid of painting over some things that are maybe okay, but you never know without trying something else. So it takes some time to figure out exactly what you want to do. There's some trial and error. Some points in the painting, I like some things and then I paint over it. And sometimes it's more than likely it's better. I just showed a reference there a minute ago. I have that I was using for the clouds, and I had on a different screen, I had a bunch of reference pulled up just so I kind of have an idea of like if I got stuck or needed to change something, just needed to know how some things looked. You always want to have a reference when you're working through a painting. I mean, you don't need a reference when you're sketching. Sometimes it helps when you're trying to generate on how things fit together. But overall, you should just mostly have your references when you're doing your main projects and you're trying to finish something to make it look like it fits where it's supposed to go I also been using a perspective grid to kind of make sure everything kind of lines up. I put 2 down to kind of figure out where it's going, but mostly I stick to the 1. I know it's not the most intuitive way of learning perspective, so it's just kind of a rough guideline, I would say. Sometimes I go through and draw boxes off camera or by myself, just as an exercise, and try and finding the vanishing points, and that will help with your perspective if you practice that. And now I'm just kind of I'm messing around with the water now, and eventually I decide that I'm gonna merge these 2 lands together, these 2 islands together, kind of make it one, but maybe the tide will come up at a different point and it will not be the same structure. I'm really liking how it's looking so far. Those clouds look pretty decent, even though I am going to change them a lot later. I'm going back and seeing the process for myself. I kind of see where I paint over things or retry things, or sometimes I see things I like before that I end up not having. And that's just how painting goes sometimes. And it makes it really easy with digital painting that you can just go over stuff or make a new layer and try something out. That's a benefit of working in digital, but traditional will give you like some textures that the brushes would give, that they just give you texture. Here you can kind of replicate texture with different brushes. Right here I'm going through and carving out this mountain, but kind of giving it a bit more depth, some more overlap. It's a little trick to, when you can overlap things, it's a trick that helps make things look more three-dimensional, more solid. Definitely gives it some depth. And I am going to mess around with this section quite a bit. I'm going to try waterfall, and that doesn't work out, and then I just paint over it. And there's a lot of painting over I do in this one, and that's okay, but sometimes it's better to have your solid vision beforehand. Now I'm messing around with some floaty rocks. I think I do eventually keep this one. So now I have some, put in something shiny in there, make it interesting. That becomes one of the focal points. I do remove it for a bit, but I do put it on a separate layer so I can see if it looks good later. And you may have noticed that I flipped the canvas several times throughout the process. That's sometimes if you get stuck or you need a fresh eye, or when you flip it you can see what's wrong with it. And it seems like every time I flip it, even back to its original position, there's something I don't like about it. So now I'm painting over the clouds. I think the clouds honestly were probably fine. So I don't really know why I decided to do that. I guess maybe I just thought it looked too much uniform and chunked together. So I wanted to break it up a bit. Now I'm going back through, painting up some edges. Just rendering, making it look finished. See, you can see that rock float back in. Right, well, I'm liking how the clouds are looking now. I think they look good again. Now I stretch the canvas a bit just to add a little more space. Sometimes it just gives you a little more to work with. And you can always expand the canvas as you work, make the painting bigger. and add more to it, but that's not always needed. Just felt like it was getting a little crowded, so I wanted to make a little extra space. And going back through more rendering. I found the water a little challenging to work with, trying to figure out how I want it to look, because some of the colors are different. You don't know how rough the waves are. I put it in black and white just to check it. I put in this waterfall, and I think it's done. I think it's done a little too soon. And then I end up painting over that waterfall again. And it eventually doesn't make the cut. And even when I'm finished, there's always something I'm going to see that I think could be fixed. But overall, most people are going to not notice it. Unless they're really trained eye for detail and how things are looking, and you're well understood artist that knows what they're looking for. Like even there's some parts that I see that I'm gonna hate even when I finish this painting video. So I'll probably go back and repaint it eventually. Yeah, that's about it. That went a lot faster than I thought it would. So if you like this commentary stuff, I'll do more of it. Probably some stuff I missed in here, but oh well. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.